Right, and now we're on to video number 2. It's picked up just where video number 2, where video number 1 finished. Here we go. So let's actually have a look at this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press print screen and paste it here. And so what's happening is I can actually draw on this and then put my answer over here and then go from there basically. So we are now hopefully fully confident at what the x-axis is, for example. So the x-axis is of course this. Let me just center that a bit nicer. So that's the x-axis. There we go. And so what does it mean, reflect the shape A? Well, the shape A is this triangle here. It has corners which are technically called vertices. I'll get onto that in just a second, but the corners are these coordinates: 2 along, 4 up, 4 along, 4 up, and 2 along, 7 up. So this is the triangle A. It's a shape and it's got the name A. And so we're going to reflect it in a straight line, so like a mirror line. So it's like you've got a mirror and you're going to see what happens. Now, where's the mirror going to go? It's going to go along the x-axis. This is what this phrase here means. In the x-axis means that's where my mirror goes. So, and this particular part is not the easiest thing to explain on Microsoft Paint with a webcam, but I'm going to try my best. So basically, whatever's up here, I'll obviously get rid of this scribble in just a second. Whatever's up here is going to flip down here. It's going to flip through the mirror line, and it's going to flip and basically be backwards, just like a mirror, right? So, for example, let's look at this corner. It is 4 along and 4 up. Well, if I'm going to flip it in the x-axis, it's going to be 4 along, but now it's going to be 4 down. Okay, it was, if I can kind of do it like this, it was 4 along and 4 up. Now it's going to be 4 along and 4 down. So what I'll do actually is, let me get, because I don't want it to get too complicated on the screen, let me put the corners in different colors. So let's do this green one first, the one I'm talking about. So 4, 4 is 4 along and 4 up. Well, in the x-axis, as my mirror line, it's going to now be 4 along and 4 down. So it'll go here. Let's look at this top one here. This is 2 along and 7 up. So it's 2 to the right and 7 up. Well, now it's going to be 2 to the right and 7 down. If I'm flipping in the x-axis, up and down get flipped. Right and left stay the same. And then 2, 2, 4. So it's as though I go along, and instead of going up to here, I'm actually flipping and going there, right? And then I'll join these corners up. Like that. Now, if you turn your head, or it's, as I say, it's not the easiest thing to explain through this medium, but hopefully you can see that this has been flipped like a mirror using the red line as where the mirror is. And so there's a few words now that you need to know. So first of all, this thing is the image. So after you've done your transformation and it's moved, It's gone from where it was to where it is now. Where it is now is called the image. So that's what that is. Vertices is a, let's say, fancy word for corners. Okay, so vertices are corners. And it's the plural of the word vertex, not vertice. Okay, it's the plural of the word vertex. So that's what vertices are. They're just the word for corners. And then coordinates is something that we mainly already know, right? Apart from maybe sometimes we make some mistakes. So let's have a look at this one here. This is 2 along and 4 down. So this is 2 minus 4. So in order to type this in, I put a bracket, I write 2, put a comma, put minus 4, close my bracket. Oh, shouldn't press enter, I need to put them all in. So that was 2 minus 4. Now we've also got, remember, 4 along and 4 down. We always go along first. So 4 along and 4 down. So that's 4 minus 4. And then finally, 2 along and 7 down. Now it shouldn't matter what order I type these in. You can do them in any order, and then it's correct. So that's that one done. So let's press next question, and we'll go through that one as well. Okay, reflect the shape A in the line y equals 0. So first of all, let's do print screen. Let's go onto this paint here. Let's move it. And let's remind ourselves of what the line y equals 0 was. So y equals 0 was all the coordinates where the y number is 0. So what do I want us to focus on? So we are focusing on y equals a number. When y is a number, that's horizontal, going through the number that it wants. So y equals 0 goes through 0 and is horizontal. If you remember from the previous video, that was the same thing as the x-axis. So actually this is basically the same question as before, except obviously it's a different starting shape. So the line y equals 0 is actually the x-axis. That's not a bad fact to try to remember, okay? If it said x equals 0, that would be the y-axis. I know it seems a little bit strange because it seems like, you know, we flip the letters around, but when you think carefully, when I say y equals 0, you can start listing some coordinates, right? So I'd have 0, 0, I'd have 1, 0, I'd have 2, 0, I'd have 3, 0, I'd have 4, 0. What do they all have in common? That second number, that y number, is 0. And if you think hard, you'll notice that has to be, that's the x-axis, where all of those coordinates are. So that means our mirror line is just as it was in question 1. And so it's quite a similar idea. Let's do it a bit faster this time. So this one here was 6 along and 5 up, so now it's 6 along and 5 down. Let's have a look at this one. This one's 1 along and 5 up. So now it's 1 along and 5 down. And last of all, let's go with that one. This one was 1 along and 7 up. So now it's 1 along and 7 down. And so let me join these up. Not that it actually asks you to do this, but I'll do it anyway, because this is the image. So let me write that. Now, I want us to notice something at this point, because this is going to be much more relevant in some of the future questions. If you ask how far away is the shape from the mirror line, and how far away is the image from the mirror line? So let's have a think about that. Let's just have a look at, say, this side here, which, I don't know, let's make it yellow. Let's have a look at this one. I'm going to look at this side here. How far away is that? It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away. Well, where that line has been reflected to is down here, and that's now also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away from the mirror line. So wherever the shape is reflected to, it's got to be the same distance away either side. That's going to be really, really important in some of the later questions, okay? So it was 5 away at the top, it's 5 away at the bottom. If you go to this top here, this top part, that's 7 away. Let me just put it like that. And it's 7 away down here as well. Like it's a distance of 7. So anyway, let's answer the question now. What are the coordinates? So there's 1 minus 5. There's 6 minus 5. And there's 1 minus 7. Right, great. So let's have a look. Because I might... right, in the y-axis. So we will do one like this as well. I don't know how long these videos ought to be, but I might pause and make another one when the questions get a bit harder. So this time it says in the y-axis. So I'm going to be using the y-axis instead, which is obviously this. So now that's the mirror line. Instead of the x-axis for the previous two questions, it's now the y-axis. So this time, right and left are going to be flipped, and the up and down will stay the same. So let's have a look at how that works. For example, let's look at this coordinate here, 2, 4. Where does this go if I'm using this blue line here as my mirror line? So it was 2 along and 4 up, 2 to the right and 4 up. Now it's going to be 2 to the left and 4 up. Let's look at this one here. 2 to the right and 7 up. Now it will be 2 to the left and 7 up. By the way, if you printed these out and had tracing paper, what you could do is you could trace the shape and pick the tracing paper up and flip it and put it down. That's not something that I have the technical ability to do on the computer. It is something that in class I would talk about and show. And it might also be the way that Mr. Hegarty shows it as well, because he's got slightly better software than I have. But anyway, this is 4 to the right and 4 up. Now it's going to be 4 to the left and 4 up. And to be honest with you, if you practice the x-axis and y-axis ones and get good at those, you should find that you should find it easier to do the harder ones later. Because really it's just about getting your head around it. So hopefully what you can tell, and maybe it's a little bit easier in the y-axis because it's more like how we experience real life when we look straight on into a mirror. But it's literally flipped. It has flipped over onto that side. It has gone from here, flipped over to here. This line here, this side here, not the longest side. The longest side is obviously this one, the hypotenuse. But this one here, this one that's goes from the red to the purple, it's 2 away. Well, in the image, it's also 2 away. How far away is the yellow dot? Well, it's 4 away. But it's also 4 away in the image. That's really important. So again, this is called the image. And the vertices are the corners, so we need to write down what those are. So the red one is -2, 4. The yellow one is -4, 4. And the purple one is -2, 7. Right, I'm not going to answer this one. I'm just going to simply remind you that x equals 0. If you've made your little notes and you're looking at your notes, x equals 0 was the y-axis. It's another way of saying the y-axis. So I'm actually going to skip this question, get it wrong by skipping it, and have a look at the next question. Right. This is the first question where it actually says x equals and then it's not 0. Okay, so I'm going to end this video here and pick up in the next video. Now again, if there are any questions at this stage or you just want to practice the questions like that, feel free, and then you can come and have a look at this video when your questions have been answered or you're feeling more confident. Or you can just feel free to literally load up the next video if you want to see me answer these. Right.